reputation. This just gets better and better. Maybe from where you're standing.
Oh man, it's Gothtober. That means we're gonna talk about Scooby-Doo. Every year we get a new Scooby-Doo special. Scooby-Doo meets Kiss. Scooby-Doo meets John Cena. Scooby-Doo goes to fucking Mexico. Scooby-Doo gets fucked in Mexico. But there was a time when Scooby-Doo was still popular, yet there was a 4 or 5 year gap between each new installment. Things were quiet until 1998. We got something special that changed Scooby-Doo forever.
It's Scooby-Doo and the gang in their biggest adventure yet. This time, the monsters are real. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Saturday at 7 on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, motherfucker. No more guys in costumes. This time the monsters are real. Welcome to the jungle, Scooby. You gonna die, essay. This was the straight-to-video movie Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island's selling point.
You know, the real reason I changed jobs was because the monsters and ghosts always turned out to be bad guys in a mask.
Got a little boring, eh?
Though there were plenty of specials and spin-offs before this movie with supernatural creatures. Wasn't the whole point of Scooby-Doo to teach kids there's no such thing as monsters and the real monsters are those who are corrupted by greed? Zombie Island is, I assume, a direct sequel to the original TV series. It's been years after the events of those episodes, and the gang's broken up to pursue more in life, but are still friends. Now that Daphne's a TV star, they reunite to investigate hauntings for ratings. This takes them to Moonscar Island, just outside New Orleans, where a mansion and its plantation have been facing ghostly disturbances for hundreds of years.
A pirate named Morgan Moonscar died on the island, and his spirit still haunts the place.
Well, no offense, Lena, but it's probably just some guy in an old pirate suit trying to scare off the local kids.
It was at that point where Fred made the biggest mistake of his life. I don't know what could be haunting this southern plantation, but I hope those reparation checks come in soon. It's almost the typical Scooby-Doo formula, but what me and Scooby-Doo fans alike have praised the most is the darker tone. It's slower, more cinematic, and the color palettes are less saturated. There's moments where I have to say, yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
I think we ditched him, buddy.
They're going against actual zombies, people's reanimated corpses. Or is it just an elaborate hoax? Watch the film and find out. Compare this to the previous outing, 1994's Scooby-Doo Arabian Nights. Ugh, it's like the dollar store version. You know, Zombie Island was never meant to be a Scooby movie. Its plot was written for a different show, SWAT Kats. Yeah, the short-lived jet fighter action series of Talking Cats. A writer for SWAT Kats, Glenn Leopold, had the idea for a zombie episode, but because SWAT Kats got cancelled so soon, it was adapted into Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Good thing there's that SWAT Kats Kickstarter.
Take it easy, Shag. It's just a mask.
If this is a mask, Fred, it's a pretty darn good one.
Besides Fred's voice actor, Frank Welker, the original cast from the 60s and onward have been replaced. They each do a good job, but Shaggy's replacement voice, Billy West, sounds a little off sometimes.
Like, take it easy, buddy. Something will turn up.
This is the first time ever Shaggy's original actor, Casey Kasem, and Scooby's OG voice, Don Messick, were not involved in a Scooby project. Don passed away while Kasem temporarily left his role as Shaggy over a Scooby-Doo Burger King commercial.
Like I'm starving, Scoob.
It's true, Casey was a vegan and refused to play a character who wasn't. He almost quit being Shaggy entirely had What's New Scooby-Doo not made Shaggy into a vegan. I can't believe this. Vegans nearly killed Scooby-Doo but failed. You could have stopped all my suffering. And they could have gotten away with it too had they not been drinking half and half. Thanks for nothing, assholes! Let's get back to the topic of edge.
Dark, brooding, important.
Sometimes reboots will give their franchise more violence, darkness, drama, seriousness, to tell more mature, explicit stories they couldn't tell before. and or so they can appeal to an older audience. And by older audience, I mean middle school tryhards who just learned what swear words are. I know I might have insulted any middle schoolers watching this video, but I was no different at that age. Getting a darker tone out of a pre-existing property can really go bad if you're not careful. There's good balances between what's already established given a harder edge, such as this movie, and the Sonic Satayam cartoon. The original spirit is still in there without being corrupted. And then there's abysmal examples where the edge overpowers the original feel of the show. Online, it's referred to as too edgy. The main one everyone brings up is the Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off game, Shadow the Hedgehog.
No more gods, no more graves, somewhere in between.
You know they made a grim dark Space Invaders? Yeah, that game. They retitled it Space Raiders for GameCube and had a super morbid apocalyptic intro with 9/11-esque imagery, while the actual game was just... Thankfully, Zombie Island still feels like a Scooby-Doo episode, just with scarier monsters, and that's what a lot of people wanted. I'd say this was the best and most influential Scooby-Doo piece of media there is. Its financial and critical success jump-started life into Scooby-Doo. Every year after this, to this day, is a new Scooby-Doo film and or TV show.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend.
That's enough, guys.
Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't
The Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, and the recent Mystery Incorporated series continued the spookier tone. Dark Scooby was in and could have destroyed its own franchise. How so?
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
What if I told you the live-action 2002 film was at first being made into a PG-13 self-parody of the original series? I'm serious. Shaggy was going to be a more blatant stoner, Daphne and Velma had a secret lesbian relationship on the side.
This just gets better and better.
What can you expect when the film was written by Guardians of the Galaxy writer and director James Gunn? Now, what caused Warner Brothers to get cold feet on the PG-13 Scooby film? Well, the year before was another self-parody Hanna-Barbera live-action adaptation made for teenage audiences, Josie and the Pussycats the movie.
A 5-star triple threat, hardest of the hard to get. No one's little red carpet, easy nothing, let me guess. 6 whole hours and 5 long days.
I love that movie, its early 2000s pop-punk soundtrack, and Josie's gorgeous hair, but it did not make any money. Part of the blame went to its MPAA rating. I know this because on home video they released a separate PG-rated family edition. What was in this film that deserved to be PG-13?
You messed with the wrong pussy.
It seemed like at the time, this was where Hanna-Barbera was heading. 2001 was the start of the late-night programming block Adult Swim. Their lineup assembled adult parody versions of forgotten children's cartoons. Birdman, Sealab, Space Ghost. If the PG-13 Scooby-Doo film did happen, Scooby could have ended up as one of those weird shows Adult Swim airs at 3 a.m. It was nice while it lasted, but Scooby-Doo eventually bounced back to aiming towards an audience of pussies. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say children. As an adult such as myself, I demand harder-edged children's programming. Maybe it was for the best. Who knows how edgy Scooby-Doo could have gotten.
Let's cut out their kidneys and sell to the black market.
To sum it all up, Zombie Island, best Scooby-Doo film? Yes, it is. Yet the one thing I both love and hate about Zombie Island are those cheesy 90s montage songs this film has during chase scenes. It's not Scooby-Doo without it, but there's something so corny about them.
Yes, it's terror time again. Oh, you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Oh, man. I almost had a heart attack there.
They've unmasked over 200 criminals together. Consider it practice. It's Scooby-Doo and the gang in their biggest adventure yet. This time, The monsters are real. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Saturday at 7 on Cartoon Network.